Are sitting in a plane, and it's a very small plane. It's like a little Cessna plane. You're in the middle of nowhere, and this little plane is starting to crash. You ran out of fuel. You're
Wait,
starting
why?
to fall. You're having some trouble. The pilot died. If you're not the pilot, right? Your pilot's dead,
Hmm.
and
So
so
we're
you're trying to land.
What?
You ran out of
we're in the
fuel.
book Hatchet.
You're in the
No.
book hatchet, but this time you're gonna crash land. All you have is your suitcase and a very basic survival kit, like in the book Hatchet. That's all you have, and you are
Oh.
gonna choose where you crash. And so you have
Okay.
four options. You can crash in the Alaska Arctic and the tundra, the desert in Africa, like the sand dunes and stuff, the Amazon rainforest, or you can crash in a tropical island. In all of these locations, you do not have any idea where your exact location is, and
Dang.
you're at a minimum of 100 miles from your nearest people. Your radio's broken. You have to figure it out. So my question is,
Your
everybody gets to
question
pick which
is,
one.
do we want to freeze? Do we want to burn up?
Yes.
Or do we
Get eaten
want to
alive.
get eaten alive?
Yeah. Okay. So which one do you want, Phil?
Uh, I mean, it's easy to say that the Castaway Tropical Island
Mhm.
because you're next to a water source, albeit probably salty. You could refine it to normal water, but you're not going to freeze. You're
Distillation.
not going to get
Okay.
completely cooked in the desert. But
But
okay,
if
so
it's
are we
like in
Okay.
African
So Phil,
desert?
which one are you choosing? Which one are you choosing? The plane's going
Ugh,
down.
four.
Four. So you want the island. Okay,
Yeah,
Orson, plane's about to hit. Which one do you want?
I don't like pressure. I'm
five,
gonna
four, three,
Castaway
two,
Island.
one.
Castaway Island. Okay. Whatever your answer was, you need to move one number to the next number, and that's where you're at.
Amazon
You pick
rainforest.
four, you go back to number one. So you're both in the
No,
Alaskan tundra.
no, no! You kidding me?
So
It's
so the
game
plane
over.
hit. Phil, now we're gonna go into how are you gonna survive? What's your plan? You just crashed.
Well, so I need to create a shelter out of blocks of ice. So I hopefully the plane because flying over Alaska has a snow shovel. Do I have a snow shovel?
You've crashed in a plane with your suitcase with a survival kit.
Yeah, but the
You
survival kit may
luckily
have a
luckily
shovel in it.
your radio is destroyed, but your plane is mangled, so you can use.
Oh, okay, okay. So if I could like get a hunk of aluminum, I'm going
Mhm.
to cut little square blocks and stack them into an igloo.
What time of year is it? That makes a big difference.
That's a good point. So which season do you want? Be careful of your choice.
Mm.
Well, if we're in the Alaskan Arctic, I want summertime.
Okay, Orson.
It's obviously
Well, I don't know
freeze.
because
Wait, wait,
summertime
wait.
everything's
What
all
was your choices? You guys both want summer?
no,
I was gonna go for
mid
spring.
spring.
Okay, Orson.
Yeah, I was gonna go for spring.
Okay, so now you're mid fall. That's where
Dang
you're
it.
really at.
Oh,
You
That's
don't get to
fine
choose. This is just
because
throwing a
survival
wrench in my
situation.
plans.
yeah, but spring is like all melty and rainy and stuff, right?
Yeah, but you're supposed to prepare before the winter, and now it's like you're that story of the do your thing before the winter, and you have
Well,
nothing.
okay, if there's still snow everywhere, like you're
Well, it's
saying,
the fall. Yeah,
The
there'll be
Arctic
probably
tundra
some snow.
never thaws. I would still try
So
to. I'm okay, fine. If there is bare earth and just like little mounds of snow everywhere or whatever, I would try to find
yeah,
a tree that's knocked over, like
uh-huh.
with a big root ball on it, and then build my shelter up against the root ball.
And where'd you get that idea from?
Some outdoors guy.
I've seen that episode. That's a good strategy. Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Boy,
okay, you've
I'm
made
not
it.
sure if I remember.
So okay, now you've got 100 miles to go. What do you do? How are you getting out of there?
100 miles would take like,
It's either that or you're gonna die. So you guys better start thinking about what you're gonna do
Hey, why would we die?
ooh, are we
because you're
together?
100 miles. No, you're by yourselves.
Oh,
It's gonna be boring.
It would be very boring. Feels
Yeah,
like, oh,
that's
I
why I
could
said you
have
got to really think if this if
I've
this
been
really
talking too
happened to
much.
you.
Orson hasn't said anything.
Yeah, Orson, if
He's
this
already
really went
dead.
down, are you dead?
He froze to
Orson,
death.
what are you doing, Orson?
What am I doing? Is the whole goal to escape?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, well,
Because
you don't want to die,
why would I
right?
die? I mean, if
Because you're
I have
100 miles
I
away
mean,
from anybody in the middle of the Arctic on a crash plane with no way to communicate.
And no food.
yeah, but it's fall, so the temperature
Hmm.
isn't that bad.
What are you going
In
to
the
do?
tundra
Start
of
planting
Alaska.
crops?
You know,
You got to get out
actually,
of there, Orson.
I, if I have to get out of there, sure, I'll create a plan to get out of there. Um, well, obviously, the first thing I would need is water. So I try to find, a water source that has fresh water. But
And
since it's Alaska,
first thing you
um,
need is fire.
well, it depends on the time of
There's the
year.
easy way to get fire, you know.
If fire will give you water.
I mean,
Or
maybe.
boil your water.
The thing is, I was gonna say is you got to be
Sorry.
careful around the streams in Alaska because of grizzly bears and Kodiak bears
In,
and
in
bears in
Giardia.
general. Um, yeah, I would probably try to find north and then try to figure out where do I have a map? Do I have anything?
But you have the stars.
Says supplies are plain survival kit,
Okay.
whatever
Yeah.
that means. Your luggage with basic clothes and toiletries. And you
Oh,
said the pilot's dead, right? So I'm going to scavenge the clothes off the pilot.
You could eat the pilot. That they've done that before.
no. No, I'd rather die.
Oh. Wait, is
Ah,
Orson
and
the pilot?
yeah, Orson's your pilot and you're his pilot.
Yeah, I'd
Dude,
rather
Orson, you're going to be eating for like weeks.
I would never
I'm only
result
going to
in
get like 2
Hey,
meals out of you.
historically, the people that have resulted to that have gone insane. Look at the Donner Party. Look what happened to them.
Yeah. Although
Okay,
I could
so
probably
now you
last
guys.
weeks without eating before you, without,
You
All right,
probably
so
could.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'd be able to go 100 miles in the tundra.
I would just create a kite that was really bright and then hope someone flew over it. Otherwise, I'm just gonna make a base camp and try
It's
to live
not bad
off the
idea.
land.
And hope
And
someone finds you.
no, no, I would be happy because think of it this way: there's I don't
No
have to worry about
taxes.
the economy out there. I don't have to worry about
No, you're one of those
all,
survivalists, huh?
all of these things, right? The whole
So the
world could
question
go
is,
to
are
court.
we survivalists right now?
No.
Oh,
Trying to survive all that.
I see how it is.
Oh, I would have had better odds on. Actually, well,
All
no,
right.
thinking about it, if we were on a tropical island, I mean, there's a whole show called Gilligan's Island, and it's the premise of you can't get off the island no
The
matter
things,
how hard you try.
the things Gilligan never told us. I don't know
All
if you
right.
know that quote.
Now that we've got everybody wondering what the heck they would do, we're going to get back to what we've done before and what you could do. So,
That'll be fun.
welcome to the podcast, everybody. This is the Pursuit of an Audience, where we're going to share our wild opinions on various things and try to learn from each other and talk about interesting subjects. So, I'm Drew, and then we have Phil over here, and then Orson.
Over that
So,
way.
we're going to talk about camping and survival, our experiences, hypothetical situations like we just had. Um, we're going to talk about the route. What is that? The stump route camper, the famous camper, online camper, and then we're going to
Okay.
talk about
Well.
survival shows and various channels. So,
All right.
all right. So the one we're going to start with first is I'm sure many of you have gone camping. and you've had some good times and bad times, and some have gone extreme camping and some have gone glamping, and some of the glamping can be as terrible as the good roughing it camping. So we're
I
going to
was
share what we think are good experience we had. Where's a time where you have been on? What's the worst camping trip you've been on, and why was it so bad?
Okay, we're
Would
doing worst.
you? Sorry, yeah, we're gonna start with worst. Why was it so bad? Let's talk about why was it so bad, and what would you have done differently to make it not such a terrible time? So, Orson, do you have an idea, or do you want to turn it to Phil for now?
Yeah, no, I have a specific camp out. I had a bunch of scout leaders, and after school, they came and said, "You got 3 minutes to grab whatever you need." And I
Oh,
had no clue what they were talking about, and they basically kidnapped us. And then we were in the not really, they didn't really kidnap us. Our parents gave permission, um, so they just took us out in the middle of nowhere,
They
and
consented your.
we just tried to live a night out in the middle of nowhere.
Where were
Um,
you at for this nowhere?
oh, I think this. Where was this? I think it was down like St. George or something. I
Oh wow!
can't remember. It was hot.
Did you have food, or did you have to find Bugsy?
No, we didn't find Bugsy. They weren't that cruel. Um, we had food, but the thing that I always forget every single time when I go camping is I always, for the life of me, I forget a pillow every single time.
Oh, pillow is useful.
And then sometimes I forgot a sleeping bag, and then it's just a cold, miserable existence. Sleeping bags are important. Everybody, bring your sleeping bag if you're going camping.
do you know what I've noticed about terrible camping trips? It
It's
always
when you're the
revolves
most
around the
unprepared.
sleeping part.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
it's always
Have you noticed
yes,
that? Like what you just said, just like, oh, I forgot a pillow or I forgot my sleeping bag. But
yeah.
Yeah,
you never
the rest of the
be
day is
like, oh,
okay.
the walking around the lake was terrible. you know, never you never hear that. It's, oh, interesting.
No, it's
Yeah, oh
because you
yeah.
have to sleep to be able to get enough rest for the next day to be able to continue. So if you can't sleep in, that harsh environment, then you're going to be really struggling the next day. That's kind of how I look at it, though.
Phil, do you have a particular one that you had a terrible experience that you thought would be good, but was
Yeah,
just terrible?
I have two. Is that okay?
Oh yeah.
One was when I was younger, one when I was adult.
Mhm.
The one that was younger, uh, Friday afternoon, scout troop went camping, and it was not in the summertime. I think it was in the spring. It must have been the spring. So by the time we got there, it was dark and it was raining. And I just remember like half an hour before we get to the campsite, just being completely like, um, I don't know, because you're like in a car full of a bunch of kids. It was like this massive van, and we were going to the Blue Mountains over by Camp Wooten. If anybody's ever heard that,
Is it the
if you have,
sand
Like
place?
you were was this the two cannon?
I think so, yeah.
Oh.
And it was like halfway there is dark, and then it started raining, and it was like kind of scary, and I didn't know like what was going to happen when we got there. I didn't know like where we were going to eat dinner or anything like that, so it was like kind of freaking out. And then we get there and we have to set up camp, and we're all wet by the time, as a kid you don't really know how to not get wet.
Until
I
you're
guess, you know what
and
I
then
mean.
it goes back to the sleeping, doesn't
Yeah, well, right. And then by the time we actually got everything set up and we got like cans of chili warmed up or something, and we all got into our beds, this actually wasn't terrible, but it's just that like dread of unknown, like how you're actually going to live through the experience. And so, anyways, that was when I was a kid. When I was older as an adult, I went backpacking with my older brother and his kids, and I brought my oldest son with me, and we went to a place called Silver Lake. And if anybody's been in the Utah Valley around Salt Lake City, you'll know that there are real mountains right in plain sight. And if you go into those mountains a little ways, you start at the base of one of the mountains, and
What
you
is that supposed to mean? Real mountains?
oh, when you
They're
see
not
them,
Wisconsin mountains.
yeah, when you see them, they're like, oh, that's what a mountain is.
Oh,
Um, anyways, you start at the base of one, and within 2 miles, you gain 2,000 feet of
Oh my
elevation,
gosh. You're in
and
the escalator.
then you camp at this relatively small lake up in the top of the peaks of this mountain. It's like a glacial
Mhm,
lake, and there's
mhm.
not a whole lot left, and you can see down into the valley. And I just remember being so like tired and worn out, and it was just a miserable experience. And I really and because it was so up high up, there's no
Can't breathe.
soil,
Oh
yeah.
no.
not a
It's
whole
like
lot of
rocks.
soil. There's just these massive rocks that go all the way around the lake. So there's very few places to actually put a tent. And the place was just packed full of like young adults and adults all, and so everyone's like screaming across the lake. And
Oh man. Echoing really bad. Oh
yeah,
my
well,
gosh.
it wasn't too bad at echoes um because we were so high up. And that was another thing. You start at like 5,000 feet, and you gain, so it's like you're camping at 8,000 feet elevation. um Actually, I don't even know. I want to look that up. You're probably between 5 to 10,000 feet off sea level. So the air is different than what I was used to at like 1,000 feet or less, 500 feet. Um, so, anyways, that was my worst experience camping because of how not exercised I was. What does that even mean? Uh,
So
how much I wasn't in shape.
Yeah,
yeah. So for mine, I don't know if it was like it wasn't a bad camp out, but it was bad in the sense of sleep, really bad. And so along with Phil's story here, we when I think Phil was probably on this camping trip,
Probably.
we were going to a place called Andy's Prairie, and we were going to go snow camping. And we had never been snow camping, and we were really excited. And we had all these great plans, and we were meeting up, and we every from the very beginning, everything was in slow motion. We were way, 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 way behind on time. And even the person we're riding with, um, who was a legend, by the way, um, we had to help push start their car to 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 get us to even start his truck. And so anyway, we got up to this Andy's Prairie, and we're like,
Probably
it's
dark.
it's pitch black dark, like
Yeah.
pitch black, and with snow everywhere. It's as silent as silent can be. It's like the deadest silent ever.
Yeah.
And so we're walking around this puffy snow, and we're thinking, oh, we're gonna sleep in snow caves, and we're thinking like,
Puffy snow.
have no idea it's gonna take a long time to build these things, but rather than build them, we find them. Like, oh, here's one, and we're like, kind of like looking at all the houses, the real estate to go sleep in them. And soon enough, we're like, these are really cold. Let's get a fire going. And so I found a big one, and I had brought a hay bale, um,
Wait,
to
like a
put as
whole hay
padding.
bale?
Well, like a quarter of a hay bale to like put it
Oh,
for bedding. And
okay,
so I
okay.
put for bedding, and then I was like, oh, I want to get warm. I need a fire. But the only thing that I had that was dry was this hay bale.
Oh
And so
no.
I tried to light it on fire, and the whole thing igloo filled full of this big plume of smoke, and I about died in there. Now you remember. Anyway,
Oh my gosh.
we ended up going in a tent. Um and there was like four of us slammed in this tiny little tent, and there was all this condensation. And then I think to relieve space, uh my dad and I had brought up our Suburban, and we're like, oh, we're gonna turn on the heater and sleep in the Suburban because it was so cold. Problem with the Suburban is the whole frame, the whole bottom of it was made of steel. And so
Mhm.
the cold would conduct the metal, and then we were probably 10 times colder in that Suburban than we were in a tent.
Tent over the. Oh,
Wait,
did you burn the whole hay bale, or did you have
No,
some?
it just smoldered is
Oh,
what
okay.
happened. So anyway, that whole night I about froze to death. It was the most cold I've ever been.
There's one little aspect you're leaving out. See, the snow isn't like a foot deep. It's probably like 10 to
12.
15 feet deep.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 Yeah.
And so when you're walking around in the snow gets all over your clothes. It like
Oh,
sticks to it.
plus you're wet. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
then when you are transferring from the snow to your tent, there's this
You're
like
all wet.
yeah, you're wet, or you take your clothes off, you put them in a corner. But because there were like four of us in that tent,
The
we were like
condensation.
super tired and it was like really dark. We didn't really care. And so then our wet clothes and like all of us were just
Like,
this
Oh.
big soup, basically.
yes, yes.
I have another bad camp out that I'm
Oh man.
remembering.
Is it also a being
So
cold one?
no, it was okay. So this was down in Florida, and we
Oh.
were doing I think it was a fundraiser activity, and it was my dad, my scout group, me, my brother. But what it was for this like giant motocross event
Ooh,
where
fun.
people would like ride their ATVs and
Actually sounds a
dirt
lot of fun.
bikes.
How's
Yeah,
this
sounds
your
Yeah, it
worst
delicious.
sounds like
camping trip?
fun, but it was terrible because we didn't get to see any of the action, none of the fun stuff.
Mm.
We were the people that had to stay at the gate and make sure people were checking in.
Oh,
And
that's lame.
someone, after I had set up the tent, someone in the scout group left it wide open. Now, if you know anything about Florida, there are bugs
Probably big
everywhere.
ones.
Big bugs, small bugs, itty bitty ones, bugs we call no seums.
And really
Um,
big, nasty ones.
and you just, oh my gosh. So you can see where this is going. Eventually, it comes time that we have to go to bed. And so we're going to bed, and everybody's going. I'll tell you the funny part later. But everybody's going to bed, and then like I get in this tent, and there's just these big old just any flying thing is inside of the tent. And I'm like, I'm not sleeping in here. No, I'm having a panic attack. I gotta get out. So I went and I got my our minivan. And man, because it's hot and humid, you're all sweaty at the end of it. So you're just trying to like cool off the best you can. Well,
Mhm.
I don't think that minivan ever recovered from the BO of the scout group for like the longest time. It was like the episode of Seinfeld with the BO. It did eventually, work its way out. But the funniest part is, well, we found out that um, while we were sleeping, my dad unfortunately found out with the other scout leader that someone is supposed to be on shift the whole night because we're like the gatekeeper. But nobody had told us that until it was like 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning, and like people had gotten in basically for free. So
Wow.
eventually they're like, "What's going on?" Yeah, that was an awful camp out.
Can you imagine having to stay up all night just to let people in, like as a kid? No,
No, I
that
Oh
sounds
can't.
man,
miserable.
that's
My
miserable.
dad can, and the other scout leader can. I mean, they did it, and yeah, it was.
Okay, so the next one, the next subject, this could be coupled with a bad camping trip, but I'm focused on a moment. What was the best camping moment you've had, and why was it so special? So when was an instance where you were out camping and you're like, "Oh, this is the best thing ever"? You have a particular I can share, I can start if you want.
Sure, go for it.
Okay, so when I was about 12 or so, I think Phil was on this. We had um a huge hike, and we called it the 50 miler. And so we were like 12-year-old kids, never done this in our life, hiking up mountains in the Cascades in Washington, just saying, okay, let's go. And then we about died because we got eaten by mosquitoes the entire time.
Yeah.
And
They
we're
were,
always
they were
saying,
so thick you had to swim to the top just to breathe.
yeah, we would put mosquito coils in our tents and hotbox it because they were just killing us so bad. So hopefully we don't have later in life problems. But in any case,
That actually
um,
explains a lot.
yeah, and this is a true story about the mosquitoes. But so I don't know if this is on the first instance or this may have been the second 50 miler. But when you're hiking so much, you're all about like, oh, I don't want to carry too much. I want to, I want my pack to be light because the first time I was
Oh,
like,
is this
it's too
the
heavy.
is this the story I think it is?
No, well, it might be, but so I didn't bring a tent. So the
Oh
entire trip I didn't
no.
have a tent. And how I had it is I put a tarp down and then my bag, I would get a tarp and put my sleeping bag inside like a taco of tarps. And for like weight to keep me warm, I would use a bunch of tree those small
Boughs,
branches. I don't know what those are called.
pine boughs.
Pine boughs, and sort of make my own little shelter. And I think it was the first or second night I had fallen asleep and I woke up and we are really, really high elevation. And the clouds, there was no clouds. And I
Mhm.
looked up and I could see the entire Milky Way, the satellites moving around. Like I felt like I was up in space. It
That's
was like
cool.
the
Yeah.
most, it was the coolest thing. And so I was up for hours just looking at that. Yeah. There was no moon either. So, but doing
That's
that,
cool.
I had my earplugs in because I didn't want to hear anything. Because if you're sleeping without a tent in the middle of nowhere in the wilderness, you don't want to hear the little thing over
The
there.
twig snap.
Yeah, so my earplugs were in every time I went to bed. But anyway, that was my really cool experience I had.
I thought you were going to tell the other one
Tell us the
where,
other one. What is it?
yeah, you get 3 days into this 50-mile hike as kids, and you're living off oatmeal and ramen. And what does this kid do? Like halfway down the trail, he busts out this can of Kipper snacks,
Wait,
and he's
wait.
just like, mm.
It was so good.
Oh, all of us were like, we wanted it so bad.
Oh,
But
it was the greasiest, oiliest,
oh yeah,
smelliest. It was the best thing. Oh yeah, those were the bar of gold. Yeah, it
That's
was good.
fish, right?
That's another
yeah,
good. Yeah,
like
yeah,
canned sardines.
yeah. Any like when you go camping and you're hungry and you have nothing to eat, you talk about all the cheeseburgers you're gonna eat, but the best things to have are the slimiest, like greasiest, like things like salami are like the best things to have.
Okay, so I have a story about that actually.
Okay.
I went on a 30-mile hike through Yellowstone with
Oh,
my
cool.
cousins and uncles and stuff like that. And the last place that we camped was actually only 2 miles from the exit. So we started up north, walked down south 30 miles or whatever. And then so the end of where our cars were parked was only 2 miles out. And so it's been a week. We've been, eating camping food, whatever. And my cousin and his father, they get the bright idea that it's like, hey, it's only 2 miles to the exit. Why don't we just run out really quick? We could hit up a supermarket and get like whatever we wanted and then drive back, run back. They were pretty fit at the time, right? And so then they leave and they come back, and you know what they get? They get
What?
cheese filled hot dogs. My uncle was like so confused by his because it was his son's idea to do this, right? They
Uh-huh.
could have had anything like steaks or like burgers or whatever. No, he gets cheese filled like what it was like just
Bratwurst?
the cheap like dollar hot dogs.
Uh,
So they got a bunch of packages of those. Oh, they were amazing. They were actually super good, cooked over a fire.
That does sound good. Stuff
Yeah.
you'd never eat, but on a camp out, they're
On a
like
camp out,
bars of gold.
camp out food is really where it's at.
Oh, it is, yeah.
I mean, it
Orson, do you have anything?
can be. for my best camp out.
Well, not really camp out. It's like a special moment on one of your campouts that you really remember that was good.
Yeah, I remember my leader. Um, I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, this was down in Louisiana, and we had gone on it was like a high adventure trip.
Why do I feel
And
like somebody died?
I mean, he did, but
Oh,
not on the camp
well,
out.
you're like
Oh,
all sad
jeez.
about it. You're like,
He was awesome. He was we'll just call him Brother Conlin, okay?
okay.
So, he introduced us to this game one time, which was the the most ridiculous, funniest thing ever. And we're all just, sitting down, and this was like the eastern part of Texas, so it was like basically Louisiana, but kind of Texas. And we're just sitting around at our campsite, and he's like, "Okay, we're gonna play a game." And so for literally an hour, it's one of those I see through the green glass doors or green glass windows, or uh,
I'm familiar with that one.
you don't know that one. It's one of those
No.
mind games where it's like really easy to figure it out once you figure it out. Like there's another one
Oh, it's
called like,
like pointing at the thing on the ground,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like everybody
Something
knows
like
the
that.
inside. Yeah, yeah,
There's like an inside, joke.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think it took me till the end of the camp out to figure out what the heck he was talking about. And everybody else was getting it. And I'm not gonna spoil it, but it had to do with like two sticks, and you'd pass two sticks, and you'd like cross the sticks and pass them to the next person. And you go,
Yeah.
"Here I have two sticks," and you like cross it, pass it over. And it took me forever, but I just remember having so much fun on that camp out, because there was a point when my camping was just like all scouting, which I have a couple of fond memories there, but I
Organized
dislike
fun.
I dislike the scouting part of it. Like
Mhm.
all those annoying merit badges and whatnot. The whole thing. But I did like the camping part. And I liked paying money to go have fun. And this was one of the campouts where we had a lot of fun. Because uh, there was this time where we're like trying to, it's like one of the inflatable things that they're pulling behind a boat. And so we're like trying to
Oh
like
yeah.
hold on to it. And my leader I was holding on to one side, and then he's like, "Just let go. You're too weak." I'm just like hanging on for dear life. And eventually he just like shoves me off, and I'm in the middle of the lake. And you just don't want to think about what's in the lake.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
Been there,
try
done
being
that.
in the ocean. That's the real scary one.
the ocean's so peaceful.
I'm just getting the willies.
It's all
Wait, why?
and you got the seaweeds like hitting
Imagining,
your
yeah,
toes.
imagining being in the ocean and then something taps your foot.
Oh man.
It's a fish. Like, well, what kind
Yeah.
of fish? It's a
And
big
there's
fish
big fish
usually.
that eat little fish.
And there's big fish that eat people.
All right. Phil, how do I show the media? Do I hit media
All
button?
right. Let's go on to the media portion of this. Whoop. We see a tent.
I see the
Um
tent. Is
okay,
that
yeah.
your
So
tent?
Phil, whose ever picture it is, tell the story briefly, kind of what's happening.
This is what I picture as camping. So if somebody's like, let's go camping, this is what pops into my head. You got
Yeah.
I like
the
I like the
dense
picnic bench.
forest,
That's nice.
the picnic bench, and then some little camp tent on the ground. I'm not okay. As I'm getting older, I'm sort of warming up to clamping. Or what is that?
Glamping?
Yeah,
Glamping.
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 Glamorous camping.
Where is or what is the one where it's like your car next to the camp. You usually sleep in. I don't know. Anyways,
Yeah.
this
Okay. So
this
there's that one.
there's that one.
All right. So this one is the Andes Prairie I was talking about. This is where we drove at like 1 in the morning, showed up here and said, "Oh, let's camp."
Heck
So
yeah.
this is what it
Snow
looks
camp.
like during the daytime, and this is actually doesn't look like it's too much snow, but yeah, that gives you an idea of the snow adventure we went on. So
Was
there's
that
You know-
that
Idaho,
one.
You know
Utah?
what's interesting about that is the
South,
sunburns.
yeah,
Oh,
southeast.
100%. Yes.
You can get sunburned so easy when it's
On
snowy. Like,
snow. Yeah.
Back to the Washington, right?
yes, this is
Sounds
Columbia
pretty.
Gorge. Now you see on the far side of the river, there's a railroad,
Over
and
here.
we went camping once. Drew was there, and
Oh,
we
that's what
got
this
there.
is?
Yes.
This was tell the ultimate story about this one. This is so.
Well,
this is the
there's
most
two
epic
actually.
camp out.
There's two.
Okay,
One
remember
of our
the legend? Yeah, he was
yes,
there.
the legend
Tell
was
us the
with
story.
us. We get okay. So I forgot my frozen burritos in the car, by the way, and I
Wait, why
still
you bring
haven't forgotten
frozen
that.
burritos on a camp out?
And then it was nasty when I get back because
We were like
anyways.
3 miles
Okay, so
in.
we get
He's like, I
yes,
forgot my burritos.
we parked up river. We hike in. I don't know. It was like 3, 4, or 5 miles, something like that. And when we get there, we're all
We're on
kind
the
of
train
tired.
tracks the whole time. It was
Yeah,
kinda cool.
you know, hiking on train tracks is a lot harder than it sounds because
It's a
your
ground so
gait is
hard.
off and then your feet are like pounding on the. I don't know. Anyways, we get there.
The
We're all
rocks.
tired. There was like, I don't know, half a dozen youth and like 4 or 5
Yeah.
leaders, and one of them just
the- and-
disappears.
The legend
Oh.
has like no pack. He has like a tiny backpack. That's all. That's
Correct.
all he brought.
Okay, why
And,
is it
and
called
then he
Legend?
disappears, and he comes back, and he has this gallon of water out of nowhere, and everyone is like super confused. Didn't he have like a bucket or something? I don't know. And we were
Yeah.
like, "Where's that come from?" And he's like, "I buried this here 2 weeks ago."
It wasn't just the water. It was cans of food too.
Yeah, he had like a bucket that he buried
Of all this stuff,
underground. 'Cause
supplies.
he like went there so often that he would just like stock this like cache of food and water.
Food cache.
And so
Yeah, our minds are like exploded. Like it's the
right,
coolest thing.
and so we ended up going fishing on the lake. Or no, it's a river,
Mm-hmm.
the Columbia River,
Yeah.
and nobody's catching anything. We're just these kids that are just throwing the line in
Power
for the
bait.
sake of power. I switched to worms, and I'm
Yeah,
just
I
like
remember that.
tired of throwing it out there, so I just let it sit. And all of a sudden, my rod just starts like bouncing everywhere, and so I start reeling in. And there's a, I don't even know what it was, but to me as a little kid was about that big. So I mean,
Mhm.
it was a decent sized fish. It was a bottom feeder. But at the
Yeah.
time, it was just a big fish. I didn't know. And
Yeah.
so
A carp?
catfish, I don't know. It might have been a carp. That's probably true. And so we are camped. Okay, so we're camped over here. The train railroad.
Right next to there's like a little small lake and there's train tracks.
Yeah, the train tracks has cut off part of the river and created a lake, and then the main part of the river. And so we were down the tracks fishing in the water. So when I caught this fish, I was so excited that I grabbed the fish and I started walking back to camp because I wanted to show everyone what I caught. And a train starts coming.
Yeah.
And
Wait, how do you know the train's coming? From like a mile away.
From a-
The tracks go well that. But the tracks start buzzing. Remember that?
Oh, I do remember that.
Have like this tinkly noise from like way before you could even see the train.
That's true.
Crazy.
And
Like, it's coming.
well,
We were like yelling
I
at you to
remember
run back to us.
thinking it was behind me, and I'm running away from it, and so I didn't think it was really that close. But the train, there's no stops. There's like in the middle of the nowhere. It's like in the image there, you can see that like
Yeah.
that's not the exact spot, but it gives you a good idea. It's the same river and everything. So
Uh-huh.
anyway, so I'm carrying this big fish, and all of a sudden the train comes around the corner, going I don't know how fast, 50,
Like 60 probably,
60 miles
yeah.
an hour, and I didn't want to
Big
drop
train.
this big fish that I just caught. So I start bugging it down the tracks with this big floppy fish.
This thing's wailing at you the whole time.
Just blowing his horn, and this
Yeah.
dumb kid running down the track. I
And
barely got
by
out of
the
the way.
way, on our way hiking to the campsite, like we never in our lives have we ever experienced the raw intensity of how like massive and scary trains are.
Oh yeah,
Like it shakes the
definitely.
whole ground. It's like it bends the tracks as it goes. It's psycho.
Yeah,
Being like
and so
10
I
feet from it when it passes you, kind of thing.
I jump off the
Yeah.
track on this little trail that leads to our camp, and then within a few seconds the train's. I mean,
Yeah.
it was. I ended up eating it. No, I got back to camp. I was so
No, they
excited
said you
about
can't
it.
eat that. It's a bottom feeder or something like that.
They're like, you can't eat that. That's nasty. It'll taste like dirt. And I had to put it back in the little pond. And I was so sad. I didn't get to eat my fish. Maybe that's why I hate fishing.
That was the best thing. Okay, here's another good one. We both have a story of this one too. You know what that is, right, Bill?
Oh, yes.
This is your picture.
That
Is
is
that a
Cougar
Bob
Lake.
Ross painting?
No. Well, no. That is Cougar Lake. I've actually mentioned it in a previous podcast before.
Yeah.
But that mountain right
Yep.
there, you hike
It's
up.
epic.
That's the way that you can go out if you want.
Mhm.
Up along the ridge is the Pacific Crest Trail.
Which was
And
what we did, actually.
yeah. So then
The second day after Cougar Lake is the most like hiking out of Cougar Lake is extremely brutal.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
It looks painful.
so
Yeah.
going in behind where the picture is being taken, I think, is kind of this like little trail that zigzags down. But then the next day you hike
Yeah.
out. You go straight up, like, I don't know.
It's super
lot.
epic place. Really nice.
And the water's ice cold. Like,
I know. Yeah. We wanted to
What?
swim, but it's like
Freezing.
glacier water.
yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible. All right, this one. What's the story here?
Yeah, that's Iron Creek campground. We would camp there and then go pick huckleberries.
Are these
oh,
pictures
this is-
you guys actually
is-
took?
No,
No,
I
I,
didn't actually
When
take
you
that.
guys asked for pictures, I was like, I take no pictures camping. I
I've
don't
got
have
some that are actually from mine. So
Yeah.
this is the huckleberry spot. You'd go here and you guys would pick huckleberries that you take home and
Yep.
store, right?
We would get gallons of huckleberries, only to find out I got a little jar of huckleberry jam from Amazon. It was like $30 or something.
Yeah.
Huckleberries are one of the, I don't know, they're fairly rare, but they're really
They
expensive.
could never take me because I would eat more than I would pick. I'd come home with a little thing because I'd eat them
And
all.
purple fingers.
Yes.
Do you guys have a guy with a gun?
No,
Oh, for
Never.
No. Just-
this is the same spot. There's
Yeah.
a creek that goes through. That's called Iron Creek. The campground has a little waterfall.
Okay, so this is at Yosemite, and we stayed in these little bungalow things. It was really fun.
It's a tent.
They have, well, yeah, tent sort of thing. And there's just thousands of them, and it was pretty fun. But it was, we saw bears there. Yeah,
That's
this is sort of a
frightening.
little glamping thing we did. It was really fun. So if you ever go to Yosemite, you can look into doing this. What am I more? This isn't camping, but this is one of the pictures I took. It's you guys ever camped next to or on the beach?
That is the worst place to camp.
Maybe not.
I camped once that was like half a mile. Well, it wasn't half a mile. It was like a quarter mile from the beach that you could just walk.
Okay,
And
that's
so-
fine. But if you're camping on sand, since Florida is a sandbar, and you're
Yeah,
camping on the sand, and the sand gets everywhere in your tent, in your sleeping bag, in
In every
your
crack of
hair,
this.
literally everywhere. It is the worst thing.
yeah. You need to be very precise if you try to do that one. I agree. But I've had good memories. When I lived in Hawaii, we'd go camp on the beach sometimes. It was pretty fun. Okay, this is at Pete Lake. We went camping
Pete
here.
Lake.
This
That was the
camping
White Pass.
spot here is kind of where I wish I had another picture, but it's where you're just past the lake and there's a giant creek, so you camp here, and right next to you is a huge creek, and so you listen to that. And so this is sort of an idea. To get here, it's a fairly easy trail. You hike for about 4 miles, and it's fairly level. It's not too much elevation. It's a really cool spot. And this is what Pete Lake looks like from a different
That's
angle.
so pretty. That's
Yeah,
out
it's
in
very,
Washington, right?
yeah, it's a really fun.
Do you remember Frying Pan Lake? It's actually quite close to Pete Lake,
Is it past Pete Lake up the hill or something? Didn't we camp
away
there?
from the road. Yeah, we camped at Frying Pan Lake, and then the next day
Mhm.
hiked to Pete Lake, and then hiked out. But
Oh,
Frying Pan
There's
okay.
Lake
no
was real
repeat lake.
shallow, and so it was really warm. And
Oh
after
yeah.
camping at ice cold lakes all the time, we went
Yes.
swimming. Oh, it was so warm, and then we got covered with leeches. Oh, those were the best.
Uh, isn't
This
it
is when
like
we're all.
hilarious that
This is
your
before
memories?
YouTube. This is when we were kids and we didn't know anything. We figured everything else. We figured out everything by experience.
We were
Heck
just so
yeah.
excited for a warm lake, and the all the like algae was like, yeah.
Is this what I think it is,
Oh,
Phil?
yes.
The ultimate place of
Oh
stories.
man, that was that. Okay, so this place is in Washington State. For those who think Washington is rainy all the time, it's not.
Oh, it's a desert
pretty.
too.
There's a desert, and this place is called Potholes Reservoir, and it's just this like massive area with all these like lakes and like whatever, but it's still a desert. Explain that to me. I don't know, but
It looks like the dead marshes from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
speaking of
kind of.
dead,
Yeah, we
you want to tell that story, Drew?
when we were planning this trip, we're sitting there with our little scout troop. We're like 12 years old or 13 or
It
really
was
young.
like one of the first camp
And
outs.
yeah, it was like one of our first campouts we've ever been on. And like, what are you gonna bring? And like, I'll bring Twinkies, I'll bring soda. We had like 7 2 liters of soda. We had like just this, it was gonna be this huge party bash of nonsense. And then we get there and we arrive at the entrance and there's this car parked and a guy laying on the ground. And
Yeah,
we're super pumped for this camp out, right? To this big party. And we go to find out there's a guy had committed suicide off in the distance. And
yeah.
it's like, we're kids, we've never experienced or seen or like, you know, anything like that. And so we're just like this fun moment just went down to our feet.
Yeah, we were the first
Like,
ones to come across because it was out in the middle of nowhere.
yeah.
Oh man, that's
And so
frightening.
we eventually called the cops. Then we went in and we had the funniest leaders there with us. One guy, he was we go off on our little trips and explore. One person was fishing and there's one of the leaders and he caught his finger with a fishing hook and it
Oh,
like pushed it through.
oh,
Remember that? Remember that, Phil?
oh.
And he tried to
And he
get
had
it
to,
out by going like this with the pawl. You'd like shake it, and then it would dig in deeper.
he just had to try to get pliers and eventually he went into like minor emergency or something. But
This is the same guy who brought cast iron frying pans for a backpacking trip.
Ah, he knows what you're supposed to do, right? Is you're supposed to like push it
Yeah.
all the way through, then cut off the barb, and then pull it back, right?
yeah, anyway,
No.
the frying pans on a hike kind of explains him, but yeah, it was funny. Okay. Oh,
Man.
and this one I just recently went on. This was at Sequoia, so kind of like the Redwoods National Park kind of place, and we stayed
Yeah,
at the
that part
side
place is
at a
cool.
big campground, and we were overlooking sort of a ridge and watched the sunset. And
Did you put scout juice on that fire?
made a no, I just cut the wood up really thin and made a. So I had a previous camp out at Lake Tahoe where we were glamping and we got our air mattresses and everything. And in California, they're really worried about like fires and stuff. So they make
Yes.
the fire pits extremely deep. So when they're very deep, they kind of suffocate the fire. And at Lake Tahoe, you're at really high elevation. So the problem is we couldn't start a fire. We just made smoke everywhere. And the guys next to us in the RVs were kind of like, they're kind of being exaggerating because they're kind of making fun of us because I can't start the fire. So eventually I just gave up and we went to bed and got in our like 8-man tent with our giant air mattresses. The
That's
issue is
glamping. Yeah.
it got down to like below 30 at night.
Oh my
And so
god.
all the cold air got in and inside, and
Huh?
because the air mattress is you're just sitting on a
Yeah,
bubble.
that's the
Yeah.
worst
We
for cold
we like
weather.
we like froze to death. Our air mattresses are like sinking down and everything. And
Is that a laptop? Oh no, it's just like a colorful bag
oh no.
in
But
your image.
yeah,
Sorry.
ever since that camp out, I wanted my revenge for my campfire. And so I was like, we're getting a huge campfire this time. And so I finally succeeded at Sequoia. So this one was
Nice.
a lot of fun. Yeah, Phil, this is yours.
Yeah, this is the Death Lake. The we hiked up, so it kind of gives you an
Oh,
idea.
this is the one you were talking about. Yeah,
Yes.
nowhere to camp. I give it to you.
No, and you start at the valley way down there, and then it's like,
All the
so
way
by the
up.
time you're up here, you're so high up that you're just seeing the peaks of all the mountains. It's beautiful. It's
Mhm.
like amazing. But when you're like half dead, you could care
The
less.
real mountains. I can see the real mountains back there too.
Yeah.
Oh,
They look pretty legit. Looks like a painting almost. That's cool.
this is a pretty
All right,
picture.
you can hit the slideshow. You can close it
Cool.
out, Phil.
I didn't have any pictures.
Jeez, Orson.
Just flat, a picture of flat sand with, stuff like that.
All right, we're back
Time
in the
check.
airplane.
Time check is
We're
10
back.
minutes.
We're back in the airplane scenario. And
Oh, no.
so apocalypse, nuclear war, natural disasters. Could this really happen? How far do you go to prep?
no.
So the question is, there's all these doomsday scenarios and people prep. And how much should you prep? And is there a situation you've been in your life that's like, oh, I get to use the stuff I prepped for? You know what I mean? When does it become like you're like a psycho just stocking your whole basement with nonsense? And when have you had a real disaster of your own that like, when has been your moment where you crashed your plane in the tundra where you had to really figure it
Well,
out?
it would go back to a wonderful scout camp for me where my brother was, I don't remember what he was doing. He was trying to do something with his pocket knife and carve something, and then he slipped, right?
Jeez.
Oh,
And then he cut
scary.
himself like really bad. And he starts freaking out, and I'm looking at him. I don't like the sight of blood, but somehow I was able to,
Keep it
maintain
in.
composure. And I was like, well, you stop panicking. It's gonna be okay, So, I took all of the medical training that I had gotten from past camping trips and learning what to do
Mhm.
in certain situations. And I was able to, help stop the bleeding. And then it wasn't like he needed stitches bad, but we had to go find some like bandages. And then he learned about something called a stupid thing called a totem chip, um, which I don't know if you guys can,
You
get
get
the
a
grip.
little the rip off the corner.
Yeah, rip off the corner. I don't like the scouting program.
A
Didn't like
totem
it at
chip?
all.
Oh
Yeah,
my
remember
goodness.
that? Like if
Ah,
you
this is
misuse a
stupid
pocket
as
knife,
what
they
that
would
was.
rip a little piece of paper off the thing, and if
Yeah.
all four corners get ripped off, you get your knife
You,
taken away.
you couldn't have your knife. And so they
Oh my gosh.
basically
Yeah.
like
I
taught my
wasn't that
brother
intense in
about the
scouting.
totem chip that day and then ripped a corner off immediately. And I was like, well, that's not right. So that was at Camp Mapledale in Las Vegas, in the Las Vegas area. Which the funny thing about that camp out is there was a lightning strike several miles like behind it, and it caused a fire. And so, like halfway, this was for like a week long scout trip,
Mhm.
and they were like, "Attention, all campers need to get to their vehicles ASAP. You're not allowed to go back to your site and get your stuff. There's a fire, and it's basically at the doorstep." And so we had to like evacuate the camping site. Uh, and my leaders are like, well, to hell with that idea. So we all went, we picked up our stuff, and then we left as fast as possible. That was an interesting experience. The funny thing is, like, it avoided the camp altogether, so it wasn't like on fire,
Yeah.
but they were just, being safe.
So, Phil, do you have any advice on what to prep? And is the apocalypse, nuclear wars, natural disaster, like how much of this stuff is like people freaking out versus what should you really prepare for?
The only thing that I've experienced that's anywhere near this was grass fires in Washington State.
Hmm.
Um, we lived next to a big mountain that was just covered with cheat grass, is what you call it.
Yeah.
And once a year, once every other 2, 3 years, the mountain would burn down. So typically, if a fire started, it's really dry, hot
Mhm.
with summers. So we would have to evacuate every once in a while, and we'd go stay at some random person's house. And so the idea of prepping something that you can take with you at a moment's notice, I feel like is
Yeah.
far more important than filling your basement with a bunch of stuff that's just going to burn up or get stolen.
Yeah. Yeah. You're talking about like 72-hour kits is
Yeah,
what we call them
exactly.
growing up.
Now, if let's say for example, COVID, right? When COVID
Right.
hit, toilet paper was like gone. Okay, so I'll just use that as an example, even though it's
Yeah.
kind of an irrational thing. I
Yeah.
do have a
Yeah,
funny story
It
about
was
that, but
it was the comfort food of prepping for that event, I think.
toilet paper was comfort food.
Comfort use. The
oh
comfort wipes.
yeah.
Drew, were you eating toilet paper during COVID?
It's soft and fluffy, you can hold on to it and,
But
I
there
don't
was a few moments there
know.
during the first we were actually camping, not camping. We had gotten an Airbnb on the Oregon coast. It's our favorite place ever in the whole world, and
Mhm.
we had to evacuate early and go home. They kicked us out, saying everyone has to shelter in place. And there was a time there where we didn't know if we could go get groceries or do this or whatever. um so in that kind of situation, having a pantry with a bunch of like dry goods and stuff would definitely put you at ease a little bit more on
Mhm.
like how long you could survive. But
Oh yeah.
secretly I've always kind of wanted like a month of like, okay, live off of your rations just to
Like your
see if I
test?
could do it. Yeah, as a test.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
mean, not to brag or anything, but before COVID, I had saw a really great deal on one of my favorite foods, spam. And I bought so much spam. So I bought spam. I bought a bunch of cheese and the ability to make bread if I needed to. So some flour and whatnot. And for like a month, this was during COVID, so it was like spam in the morning. If I had some eggs, which wasn't very often, I'd add some eggs to it, spam and eggs, excellent. And then I'd have some
Yeah.
bread and grilled cheese sandwiches, spam and grilled cheese sandwiches. I lived like a king.
Yeah.
A salty meat that's very fulfilling, I think, when you're hungry. Yeah. And then for me, disaster-wise, like when I was a kid, there was a big flood, and the only thing I can think of is for prepping stuff, like if you know people that have been affected, you have supplies on hand if you have some sort of storage that you can give them to get them going. It's
Yeah.
like Phil says, if you had to run out of your house because your house burnt down, you need some basics to just kind of survive. And then on a survivalist like personal stuff, it's like my philosophy is have like like the camping dry food, the dry food you can just add water.
Yep.
So I
Freeze
think
dried.
freeze dried, having some freeze dried food and a way to cook it, you know, and a way to
Oh,
filter water, food and
there
water.
was when was it? I think it was 2020 or 2021. the year of the great freeze of Texas, and you didn't have power. It dropped like the really cold weather. There was snow. I think it was like a foot of snow. It was really bad because the infrastructure down in like the Texas area isn't made for snow like at all.
Hmm.
So we don't
Hmm.
have snow plows or
Yeah.
de-icers or anything like that. And then it hit the power grid, and so I was just by myself. There was no power. I woke up in my house the morning after, and I think it was like 40 degrees in my house. Um, Probably a little bit colder. It was probably like 38. It was really cold.
Brr.
Um, and there was no heater, and I just kind of lived in my sleeping bag for 4 or 5 days until we got efficient power
So
back. But
I'm sensing that morale is a big factor when this sort of like,
oh,
it's like with
100%.
COVID, it's like in these situations of like Phil wants his doomsday situation. I think a lot of it is just mental sanity of, you know, making it through the boring
You
stuff.
know what the
Yeah.
the biggest morale boost was when I was a kid? Anytime
Mm.
like the power would go out is like putting candles
Fire.
around your house.
Yes,
Oh yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I agree.
It was like the most magical thing seeing your house in candlelight rather than
Yeah.
And then the harsh lights.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, instead of just everything lit up. I don't know. That was like the coolest
I
thing when I
think,
was a kid.
camping in general, I was going to say a few things about camping channels and why are people drawn to like Outdoor Boys and, the survival show Alone. Like people are really drawn to this primitive sort of survivaling. And I think it, yeah,
Yep.
resonates with people's natural things. But Phil, you had some things you wanted to say.
Yeah, we are at that 1 hour mark, so I'd say we give some final thoughts.
All right, Phil, what's your final thoughts?
My final thought is camping is important to know what it's like, to experience it, to be prepared in case crap does hit the fan.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm. That's a
it's not
powerful thing to, yeah,
completely because
I agree.
there are definite skills to camping, like burying your food out in the middle of nowhere, in case you go there every other month, you know, or learning how to catch a fish or knowing what kind of fish are good to eat and what aren't. Um,
You staying dry in a winter camping situation.
exactly.
Yeah.
Or
Oh, yeah,
knowing how to
yeah.
dig
All of
a
these,
How to start a
all,
fire is probably the most important
yeah.
one.
so if this thing does happen, you actually have a little bit of experience to like sort of know what you're getting, what could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Orson, do
Yeah.
you have anything?
Yeah. I think the reason so many people like camping um, is people love to go. Well, I mean, they should love to go outside and just be with nature. Um, we live a high paced, fast, everything is in the fast lane kind of life anymore. Always on communications, everything is always lit up in front of us on a screen or something. To be able to just go and detox basically from
Hmm.
everything is so refreshing.
Yep.
Um, Except I will put into this that camping in like Texas is miserable. Anywhere down south where fire ants have invaded,
Oh
it's
no.
I don't want to go outside. For the most part, but Washington State, Idaho, even
that's where
parts of
it's
like
at.
Wyoming, like it's just beautiful. Montana, especially, those are just gorgeous places. The Appalachian Mountains, like those are just it's beautiful to be around nature, and
From
it's
sea to
good.
shining sea.
It's good for our psyche. 100%. That's my
Yeah.
fun. Go camping.
Yeah. I I think it's the idea of going camping and the excitement of it all is a lot of fun. Getting there is a ton of fun, and then using the supplies you brought and picking it out of the bag and saying, "See, I knew I needed this." You have like,
Yeah.
aha, it's like a win. And then you have a level of misery where you're like, oh man, it's so
Oh
cold
no,
at
I
night.
forgot my pillow.
You know, you want to take a shower, you feel gross. And so it has its whole cycle. And you have just enough good and bad experiences
Do want to do it
like
again?
to want to do it again. But in like a few weeks or months.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so anyway, this is our camping adventure discussion. And thanks for watching. Feel free to sign up for some more, and we'll see you next week. And Phil's going to run the show. Do you have any preview of the show, or we're going to be excited
I have a
to
couple
find out?
ideas. I was thinking of adrenaline junkies, like
That'll be fun.
extreme sports, figuring out why people like them.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Interesting.
getting
We'll see.
chased by the lion kind of thing, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It's
So-
gonna
Alrighty.
be a circus.
Sounds
All right.
fun. All right,
Catch you
we'll
guys
see
later.
you guys later.
Like